Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack the core ideas from key sources, basically giving you that knowledge shortcut you need.
And today, our mission is uh, pretty big. We're trying to decode why we actually buy things.
Right, the ultimate consumer mystery. Because there's this huge gap, isn't there?
Massive. Companies spend fortunes on market research, surveys, focus groups, all that.
Yet the failure rate is just staggering. Something like 8 out of 10 new products gone within 3 months.
It's wild. And in Japan, it's even worse. About 97% don't make it.
That figure alone tells you something's fundamentally wrong with the old methods.
Totally. It shows that what people say they'll do, maybe in a survey.
It's completely different from what they actually do at the checkout counter.
Exactly. And the core idea here, the whole foundation of this field called Buyology, is that maybe 90% of our buying decisions are unconscious.
90%. So to really understand it, you have to bypass the conscious bit entirely.
That's the idea. You need a direct window into the subconscious mind.
And that's where the science comes in. We're talking about ditching the clipboards for some serious tech.
Primarily, two main tools that we use in this huge neuromarketing study. First up is the fMRI scanner.
Functional magnetic resonance imaging. Sounds impressive.
It is. Think of it like a super detailed camera for your brain, but it tracks blood flow.
So when a part of the brain gets active reacting to a logo, maybe?
Exactly. Or an ad.
Yeah.
Blood rushes there, carrying oxygen, and the fMRI picks that up. It shows you where the activity is happening.
Okay, so location. What about the other one, SST?
Right. Steady state topography. If fMRI shows where, SST shows when. It measures the speed of brain activity.
Like electrical waves.
Precisely. So it's really advanced EEG, measuring brain waves in real time, millisecond by millisecond.
So together, they give you location and speed of thought.
You got it.
Yeah.
They're basically the ultimate lie detectors for our subconscious thoughts and feelings. Things traditional research just couldn't get at.
And the first big finding they uncovered. It's a real head-scratcher, apparently, especially regarding public health.
Oh, yeah. It involves those graphic anti-smoking warnings. You know the ones. Pictures of diseased lungs, gangrenous feet.
Required in places like Canada, Thailand, right?
Those are the ones. So researchers in London got a bunch of smokers together for a big neuromarketing study.
Put them in the scanner and showed them these images.
Exactly. And they also asked them questions the traditional way.
Let me guess, people said the warnings worked.
Well, take one subject, Marlene. A regular smoker. On the questionnaire, she said, yes, the warnings affected her, made her feel guilty. She even claimed she was smoking less because of them.
And she probably genuinely believed that.
That's the key thing. She likely did. But her brain told a completely different story.
Okay, what did the fMRI show when she saw those graphic images?
Intense activity lighting up in one specific area, the nucleus accumbens.
Hang on, isn't that the brain's reward center? The bit linked to pleasure and craving?
Bingo. The researchers were floored. Across the board, these warnings weren't deterring smoking at all.
They were doing the opposite.
They were stimulating the craving spot. The graphic images, meant to repulse, were actually activating the desire for a cigarette.
So the warning labels basically became unintentional cigarette ads.
In effect, yes. Highly effective, but completely unintended. The brain linked the pack not with death, but with the immediate reward of nicotine.
Wow. So if people's conscious minds are wrong, and these warnings are actually increasing cravings, what does that mean for policy? Governments spend millions on these.
It's a huge problem. It shows you just can't rely on what people say, especially with addictive behaviors. The brain's wired for that immediate hit.
Did the study suggest anything else? A better approach?
The conclusion was that these really overt, direct, negative warnings often fail because they hit those deep emotional triggers in the wrong way.
So maybe something subtler, more positive framing.
Possibly. Something that doesn't directly activate that craving response. But the big takeaway was just how much the unconscious emotional brain overrides what our rational mind thinks or wants to believe.
That battle between emotion and rationality, it sounds like the core of buying decisions.
Absolutely. Which leads us perfectly to another classic example, revisited with fMRI, the Pepsi challenge.
Ah, the blind taste test. Pepsi usually won, right? Because it's sweeter.
Historically, yes. And in this fMRI study from 2003, led by Dr. Reed Montague, when people drank Pepsi without knowing what it was.
Their brain scans showed activity where?
In the ventral putamen, a pretty basic reward center linked simply to, pleasant taste, a straightforward chemical response.
Okay, simple preference, but then they introduced the brands.
And everything flipped. When subjects knew they were drinking Coca-Cola, suddenly 75% said they preferred Coke, even if they just preferred Pepsi blind.
So knowing the brand changed their stated preference, what happened in the brain?
That was the crucial part. Activity shifted dramatically away from the simple taste center
To where?
to the medial prefrontal cortex. This is a much higher level brain region involved in thinking, judgment, integrating complex information, and, crucially, emotion.
So all the feelings associated with Coke, the history, the ads, the nostalgia?
Exactly. That whole emotional cokeness, as the researchers put it, just completely swamped the basic sensory input of taste. The brand idea literally tasted better.
The brand story beat the actual product experience. That's powerful.
It really is. And it connects directly to how we make decisions all the time, favoring short-term feelings over long-term logic, like that smoker's craving overriding health knowledge.
Right. There was another study mentioned, wasn't there, with gift vouchers?
Yeah, the Princeton study. They offered students a choice. Get a $15 Amazon voucher right now, or wait 2 weeks and get a $20 voucher.
Logically, $20 is better. Wait 2 weeks.
Logically, yes. But what happened in the brain when they considered the immediate $15 option?
Let me guess. More emotional activity.
Intense stimulation of the limbic system, the parts involved in emotion, memory, immediate gratification.
And that immediate emotional buzz made people choose the worst deal.
Often, yes. That rush of reward now made many irrationally choose the smaller immediate payout. The brain wants the bird in the hand.
So our brains are constantly looking for these emotional shortcuts, avoiding complex calculation.
Pretty much. We can't possibly analyze every single decision rationally. It would be exhausting.
And this is where somatic markers come in. What exactly are those?
Think of them as, like, emotional bookmarks or gut feelings. They're shortcuts the brain creates based on past experiences.
Experiences of reward or punishment.
Exactly. If you bought a cheap product once and it broke immediately, that negative feeling creates a somatic marker. Next time you see that brand, you feel a little aversion, maybe without even thinking why.
Like a physiological pre-check system.
That's a good way to put it, a visceral feeling. So when you instinctively reach for your usual brand of peanut butter or water,
Without reading the label or comparing prices?
that's probably a somatic marker firing. It connects past feelings to a quick decision, letting you skip the conscious deliberation.
It's these layered associations built up over time.
Yep, and they're responsible for that 90% of automatic unconscious decision-making we talked about.
Which explains why advertising isn't just about listing features anymore. It's about creating positive feelings, positive somatic markers.
Precisely. But what happens when the advertising is almost too subtle? Or maybe not subtle enough?
Ah, like product placement versus traditional ads.
Right. Let's look at that SST study on the American Idol sponsors. Big names. Singular, Coca-Cola, Ford.
They all spend a fortune, right? Something like $26 million a year each.
Huge money. But they had very different strategies. Coke was everywhere on that show.
Oh, yeah, the red cups on the judge's desk, the couch shaped like a bottle contour, the red walls.
It permeated like 60% of the show's runtime. It wasn't just in the show, it was part of the show's fabric.
So it became linked with the contestants' journeys, the hopes, the dreams, the drama.
Exactly. The brand got painstakingly affiliated, as the study said, with the core emotional narrative. It became integrated into the somatic markers viewers were forming while watching.
And the result for Coke?
Massively increased memory recall and brand preference. It worked because it was embedded in the emotion.
Okay, but Ford spent the same $26 million. What did they do?
Just ran standard commercials in the ad breaks, no real integration into the show itself.
And the result for Ford?
It was pretty disastrous, actually. The SST brain scans showed that watching the Coke-heavy show actually suppressed people's memory of the Ford ads they'd seen in the breaks.
Watching the show made them forget the Ford ads.
Essentially, yes. Ford actually lost market share during that period, despite the huge ad spend. Their ads were just noise, disconnected from the emotional core of the show.
Wow, so if you're not woven into this story, you're basically invisible, or worse.
That's the takeaway. Integration matters. Emotional connection is key. If you're just an interruption, you're forgotten.
We've talked visuals, narrative, but what about other senses, like sound?
Ah, yes, the power of non-visual cues. This brings us to the infamous Nokia ringtone.
Oh, I remember that sound. Dun, 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 dun.
Instantly recognizable,
Yeah.
right? One of the most famous corporate sounds ever. So they tested reactions to it using fMRI.
And people liked the phones themselves, presumably.
Generally, yes. The images of Nokia phones were rated positively, but the ringtone?
Let me guess, Not so positive.
It provoked a really strong, across-the-board negative emotional response in the brain scans. The researchers were genuinely shocked by the consistency.
Why, though? It was just a ringtone.
Think about what it meant. It wasn't just a sound, it was the sound of interruption.
Right. A call disrupting dinner, waking you up, bringing bad news, demanding your attention now. Stress.
Exactly. It became a powerful, negative somatic marker. The brain associated the sound not with connection, but with annoyance, intrusion, sudden demands.
So hearing the ringtone actually made people like the phone less.
It suppressed the positive feelings they had towards the visual brand image. The sound poisoned the perception.
Which underlines how crucial it is for all the sensory inputs of a brand to be aligned, doesn't it?
Absolutely. If they clash like a grating sound with a sleek design, the brain registers dissonance, aversion.
But when they work together, like a pleasant smell matched with a nice visual.
That's when you see positive results. Congruent senses, a good smell, a fitting sound, a pleasing visual, all reinforcing each other, light up areas like the right medial orbitofrontal cortex.
Which helps with what? Memory? Preference?
Both. It increases positive feeling, cements the memory, and boosts preference. Sensory harmony builds trust.
Okay, so pulling all this together, the smoking warnings, the Coke versus Pepsi brains, the Ford ads, the Nokia ringtone, it's overwhelming evidence, really.
It all points in one direction.
Yeah.
Our buying behavior is overwhelmingly driven by the unconscious. That 90% figure seems pretty accurate. It's automatic, emotional, driven by these shortcuts.
And the companies that get it and can afford the tech.
They're using neuromarketing, fMRI, SST, not just to test ads, but to predict failure before a product even launches. Think new Coke, maybe the segue. Looking at the brain's reaction, not just focus group chatter.
It feels like they're moving beyond just trying to sell you something. It's almost like they're aiming for faith. Loyalty isn't strong enough a word anymore.
Well, that brings us to possibly the most provocative finding of all from this line of research.
Roll.
Researchers took really powerful, iconic brands, what they called smashable brands, recognizable even from fragments. Think Harley-Davidson, Apple, Ferrari.
Okay, brands with strong identities.
And they showed images of these brands to people in the scanners alongside images of well-recognized religious icons.
Like rosary beads, Mother Teresa, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And they compared the brain activity.
Don't tell me.
The patterns of brain activity were virtually identical.
Wait, looking at an Apple logo triggered the same brain regions in the same way as looking at a religious symbol.
Almost no discernible difference in the scans. The areas associated with reverence, belief, deep loyalty, sense of belonging, they lit up just as strongly for these powerful brands as for the religious icons.
That completely reframes the whole idea of brand loyalty. It's not just liking a product.
It suggests these brands are tapping into something much deeper, the same fundamental psychological needs that religion has traditionally fulfilled.
Needs like belonging, community, meaning, ritual.
Precisely. Think about it. Think about it. Powerful brands offer a sense of identity, a community of users, a clear vision or aspiration, sensory experiences, rituals.
Like the ritual of unboxing a new Apple product.
Right. And even a sense of grandeur, being part of something bigger. They seem to provide the same psychological pillars.
So if companies can successfully harness these deep, subconscious, almost spiritual drives, making a brand feel less like a product and more like a core part of someone's identity or belief system.
Then it raises a really interesting question for you listening right now.
What's the religion you subscribe to in your own wallet?
If brands can offer status, community, comfort, ritual things we also seek from faith, how much of your own loyalty is really about the product itself?
And how much is about the symbolic meaning, the sense of belonging you get from aligning yourself with that particular faith?
Something to think about next time you instinctively reach for that label you love. What belief are you really buying into?